because she's shady as fuck. Deuces, or whatever the fuck he's trying to do. It's so annoying. It was a shitty thing to do. It's weird. Sad. Can pull me from the dark. Hi friends, so today we're talking about Vanderpump Rules episode 11. So in this week's episode we have, I think it was called Mistress in Distress, and it was funny seeing Raquel be all upset about how everyone is coming at her about Oliver, knowing what we already know. Like every episode I'm going to say it. It's hard to be objective and not see it through the lens of we already know that Sandoval and Rachel are fucking. I can't pretend like I don't know that. Like it coats everything because it makes things totally different. If I didn't know that they were already hooking up, then I guess I would potentially feel bad for Rachel. I think I would still be annoyed because definitely in the beginning of the season when it was teased that Rachel and Schwartz were going to be kissing and stuff like that, I already didn't like it. Like I already thought that was not cool. I think for a second I thought like, oh, maybe they would be a cute couple. But then hearing that Katie was upset about it and that it was causing that kind of drama, then I was like, well, yeah, no, that's not cool. So I guess I maybe would be more team Rachel, but just I can't pretend like I don't know these things. So it's rough. I want to feel bad for Rachel, but then just seeing her behavior and the way she kind of has no like emotions, like how she's very robotic in what she does and how she justifies things, it's hard to feel bad for her because it's like, no, like maybe there's like something a little off with you and not in like a good way. So the first thing that I want to talk about is Ellie. I am an Ellie stan. I think she is the MVP of this season. Who would have known that she was the Sandoval and Rachel whistleblower? The fact that she was the one who saw them at the Abbey at 1 a.m. dancing together alone. I really like her. I like the way she's fitting in with the group. I like how she hangs out with the girls. I mean, it seems like a really seamless fit, which is also telling because the girls never really got along with Rachel that way, and a lot of people on the internet want to say that it's because they're mean girls and they're picking on her and yada yada, but here's Ellie, totally new, totally an outsider, and just like meshing so easily with them and getting along and hanging out on her own. And to me that says a lot. Like they just never vibed with Rachel, and there's a reason why, because she's shady as fuck. Like you can't blame them for that. And Katie is a total savage for that scene when she goes and picks up the dogs from Schwartz and she's like, that's awful, see ya. Like deuces. She wants nothing to do with him. She's just like, we're done. We are not cool. Don't talk to me. Don't vent to me. Don't pretend like nothing ever happened and we're like chill as fuck. Like no, like you crossed a line. You need to understand that. On top of that, when you came to apologize or smooth things over, you're actually just doubly an asshole. So it's like, no, Schwartz, you can't play that game. Maybe it was okay. Maybe you got away with it a lot when you were her husband, but this is why she divorced you. So like get it through your head. You can't keep fucking up and then expecting her to just sweep things under the rug and pretend like everything's chill. Like no, it's so annoying. The scene with Charlie and Rachel at the park taking pictures for what? Like your social media, because they're such an influencer. Like, I'm so cool. I'm Rachel. Like, ugh. And I hate the way she talks. She's so annoying. Like every episode I get like more and more frustrated with her. The only part of that scene that was relative or like had actual value was when Charlie called her out and she's like, I heard some things and I'm not liking it, and I wouldn't do that to my worst enemy, because it was a shitty thing to do. She brought up a good point. It was Katie and Schwartz's 12-year anniversary that weekend. Should they have gone to dinner together? No, I think that was way too soon. It was still way too fresh. Like that was just a disaster waiting to happen. But regardless, Charlie said it, that there's a 12-year relationship there that needs to be respected. And Rachel just throws that out the window. Like she can give two shits. She only cares about herself. Even when she's defending herself to Charlie, and her voice like quivers. Like, I feel for her because I'm like that. Like, when I get nervous, if I have to go do some sort of like public speaking, stand in front of a crowd of people, or like when I am just put on the spot, my voice can for sure quiver, and her voice is always like, she's struggling, and she's like, you know, it's Katie's fault. Like, she knew what she was getting herself into. They're not together anymore. But it's like, no, like, have some respect for that relationship. Have some respect for yourself. Like, it's not a good look. And Charlie, as a good friend, which seems like she is at that point, she's gonna tell her. So bravo, Charlie. I'm glad that they included that. I'm glad that you brought that to the table. Up until this point, I really don't see, I'm not a Charlie stan, but in that moment, I did like that, and I think it was necessary, and I'm glad that someone was able to do that. And yeah, she was just like, I'm not gonna be your friend, but I'm gonna tell you, like, you're better than that. So she's redeeming herself, Charlie. Like I said before, never really been a huge fan, but little by little, I can see the good parts in her. The fact that Rachel's like, I don't want to be Debbie Desperado, when she's talking about how she would date Schwartz if he was interested, but because he's not putting out those vibes, she's like, I'm not gonna date him. It's not like we're gonna be going out. You are Debbie Desperado, because if Schwartz wanted you, you would do it. And Sandoval put out those vibes and you jumped on it. So, like, you're Debbie Desperado to the millionth time. She's gross. She's really gross. I don't understand how it's not clicking for her. Like, she's able to say these things in her interview bites, but it's not in the back of her mind like, well, actually, I'm fucking my best friend's man, so maybe I am Debbie Desperado. And like, she says it so like casually, it just flows out of her. Like, it's weird. Like, the the two different personalities, like, it's weird to me. The scene with Schwartz and Sandoval and Brett at the restaurant, and how Sandoval loses his shit because Brett's saying that they let go of the chef and the kitchen staff, and they're like duking it out, and he's like, it almost seems like overacting, and then he says like, not everyone performs at an A+. A B is fine. Performers, you know, if they're giving a B, that's the best they can hope for too. It's like, no, Sandoval. That tells me that your standards are very low, obviously, because most people want to operate at A+. They want to operate at 100%. So I get it. Like, they're bleeding out money at this point. So it's like, yeah, if you have to serve potato chips like out of the kitchen just to get the place open, totally, because it's logically speaking, I can see that point. But the whole like, oh, not everyone needs to be at an A+, like, it just shows me again his standards, like, they're very low, and that speaks volumes on the kind of person he is, the kind of just how he's fine presenting himself to the world. Like, ugh. And then at the end too, when, you know, it's all quiet and like Schwartz is trying to smooth everything over, and then they start laughing, and right before Brett's like, you want to take a shot? Sandoval's like doing this creepy laugh. He like forces it out, and then his mustache. I saw a meme comparing Michael Darby energy to Sandoval energy, and like, this is the same. Totally. Like, they're creepy old guys that like, they're just shady and questionable, and I totally agreed with that tweet. It was spot on for sure. The scene at Ariana and Sandoval's house when Katie comes over and they're having the sandwiches, and Sandoval is like so desperately trying to defend Rachel and Schwartz to Katie about the whole makeout in Mexico. It's just like, yeah, you're defending your mistress, you're defending your life partner, because that's what you and Schwartz are, and it's obvious that he's trying to just get the scent off of him and Rachel, or like, he's glad that they made out because it kind of takes the attention off of them two, and of course he has to stand up for the two of them. And Katie is just like, I pray to God that that never happens to you. And we know that later on it does happen to Ariana, and Ariana is like a girl's girl. She's just like, you know, she has every right to be upset. There is going to be consequences, and part of that is them not being friends. She's always fine speaking up and being reasonable, and if that happens to be against what Sandoval wants, it's like, he says like, oh, I don't want someone to have my back blindly, but you know, I just feel like sometimes you're always going against what I say. It's like, well, maybe you just talk a lot of stupid shit and Ariana feels like she has to play the devil's advocate to you. That's a good thing. You don't want just yes men, yes people all the time. I'm sure Rachel is just like, yeah, Sandoval, let me just suck your dick. He's definitely laying the groundwork of like, oh, Ariana never has my back. We were just like growing apart. She's so mean to me. She thinks I'm stupid. Painting the picture of Ariana being the bad guy and he was unloved and abused emotionally or whatever the fuck he's trying to do. You can see his plan trying to form in these recent episodes, and it's slimy. Like, it's just ugh. Now, the scene where LVP and Tom are at the restaurant and Raquel conveniently comes over to take their drink order, and then she starts playing the victim. Oh, Katie called me a whore, blah, blah, blah. And then Tom Sandoval like calls her to come sit in between the two Toms. It's like, ew, like obviously you guys are sharing each other. You guys are a happy little throuple. And then the way Sandoval is like drooling over her, it's like, oh my God, like pick up your mouth, like dab that saliva off. It's so nasty. And then even LVP is just like, why are you so happy? Like, why do you have that smile on your face? And he like sticks his tongue out and he's like, it's so gross. He is just more disgusting as the episodes happen, and I can't, like, that was so cringe. It was so on all of their parts, like Schwartz trying to be like, oh, like we're not gonna hook up or we're not dating, it's not awkward, like trying to play the cute nice guy that he always is trying to pull, and Rachel trying to like cry and oh, like Katie's so mean. I'm tired of looking for approval from people that are never gonna give it to me. Again, if we didn't know what actually went down, maybe I would feel bad for her. Like, I want to say my youngest brother is autistic, and just from growing up with him, obviously there's a social aspect that's lacking there, that's different. Like, they don't really read the room really well. They're very blunt. They say what's on their minds, and they don't connect as much as like just you and me. So I almost want to, I mean, obviously I'm not a doctor, I'm not diagnosing, this is all speculation and all of that, you guys get that. But I can almost see Rachel having something like that. I know a few weeks back, Rob Dyrdek's wife came out on social media. She put a post talking about how she was recently diagnosed with adult autism. And then Rachel commented, I can totally understand, or something like that. So then people started speculating, and I can maybe see that a little bit, you know, like maybe she has something like that, or even Asperger's. You can tell she doesn't connect to people on the level that other people connect on. There's like something there that's just off. So really, that would be a nice way of putting it. Like, maybe that is why she's doing the things she's doing, and not that she's just a sociopath or like a psychopath or just like a really terrible person, you know? Like, it would at least give her a little bit more grace if she had some sort of diagnosis in that way. Because I don't know, but then she's also like acting. She's also like crying like in her interviews and stuff like that. So it's hard. I'm trying to find excuses. I'm always looking for ways to understand people and like kind of put myself in their shoes. And like, I can't do it with Rachel. Like, there's just like, there's a wall there, and it's hard to understand her. It's hard to understand the way she operates and moves. Now, the whole Oliver and Rachel thing, it's also, again, telling she doesn't really care about Samantha. She doesn't really care that Oliver had a wife. What she cared about, what upset her, was all of the attacks that she got online. Her reputation being tarnished. That is what she was upset about. She's worried about her image. She says that to him specifically when they go out to dinner. It's so weird hearing all these things coming out of Rachel's mouth when literally she's doing the exact same thing with Sandoval at the moment. And it's just that Sandoval wasn't married to Ariana. But again, there's a 9-year relationship there that should have been respected, and it wasn't. So it's just mind-boggling to see what she's saying in her interview bites and like to her cast members, and yet like she's actively sleeping with Sandoval at that time. It was such an awkward vibe seeing them at dinner. You can tell that Oliver was actually like pretty into her, and he was just like pissed off that he basically shot himself in the foot, and like they weren't able to continue dating and like see where things went between the two of them. It's just funny, like Rachel wants to act like she's like this stand-up woman, and like, you know, she wants to do the right thing, but it's like, no, like this was put on blast right off the bat. So then it like, you wanted to back up. But the truth is that like you were doing it secretively already with Sandoval. So, and then it was just like strange that she wanted to go like right away, go to Lala's birthday party and speak to her. It's like you couldn't wait till tomorrow. You couldn't give her a call. No, she texts Sheena to see if they're there, and she shows up, and Lala's like, it's cool, like you're giving me the best birthday present ever. So like, of course that was fine in the long run, but it was just like weird. It's like, why do you have to go right then? And then they step outside to talk, and Rachel apologizes, and Lala like gave her a lot of grace at that time. I would have been, I don't know, like at the end when she's like, you, my love, are not a mistress. It's like, but yeah, she's trying to just smooth things over, and she's like, I don't want to have beef with you, and like, let's just move on. Like, I know you're not a mistress. I wasn't a mistress. Now you see how easy it is to be played by these men who feel entitled to having their cake and eating it too, because that's what Oliver was doing. He was messing around with his wife still, even though he didn't want to be with her, but he wanted to like obviously still have sex with her and see his son, but at the same time he wanted to fool around with other people. So he, again, not having the balls to be honest and say, this is how I'm feeling and I think that we need to move on. He was playing both sides. And that's what these men want and do, because they feel entitled. They feel like they are going to be able to get away with it, and that's what they do. By the way, Lala looked so good on her birthday. Like, I loved the top with the boobies out and the hair up and the makeup. She looked so good. She's looking really good. Like, leaving what's-his-face was the best thing she ever did. And how does she look that good after having a baby? Like, it's just mind-boggling to me. It's like, well, good for you, Lala. All in all, it was a annoying episode. I think they're just going to continue to be annoying. My conclusions at every episode is the same. It's annoying. My heart rate is up. I'm looking for the Easter eggs. I can't watch it objectively. Like, I'm just watching it through the lens of like, we already know what we know. And yeah, but it's good. It's getting good every episode. It's hard. So when everything came out, people were saying that the editors are going to go back and they're going to re-edit all the episodes to start including these things in. But then a week or two later, Andy Cohen says that they are not, that nothing has been retouched. So like, what, if that's true, was it the whole time that people, well, I would assume so, because even for the previews for next week, more and more people are talking about the weirdness between Sandoval and Raquel. So like, did production know? They're hearing everything even when the cast doesn't know that they're hearing. So maybe they did know, and that's how they were always going to edit the season. This was always going to be the storyline, or did they go back? Like, it's hard to know which is which, but it seems like this was definitely how the season was going to go, regardless of this news that recently came out of like that the affair was actually happening. I think they already knew, and they were kind of developing the storyline on their own. And then when the news broke and it was confirmed that they were having an affair, then it just like, it was like, oh my God, let's pick up the cameras again because this is exactly what we were waiting for. I'm sure it sucks because this is these people's real lives, but then they're able to just like include it all and make it one big, beautiful season. So yeah, we'll see how next week goes. Next week, I'm going to have a glass of wine so we can do a recap together, because I think that's just how I'm going to need to do it now. A little wine to just like keep calm. But thank you for hanging out with me. I really appreciate you being here. I hope to catch you on the next one. Bye, guys. Can pull me from the